ceremony you're about to witness is in honor of our founder, Mark Erdrich, who passed away on February the 12th. All the vets here have been witness to the lesson he gave to villagers honor flight volunteers. It's all about the vets. That was all Mark. It was always all about you. When the American Legion Honor Guard lowers the flag, we'll be reminded of Mark's passing. When the new flag is raised, we will honor what Mark Erdrich created and the legacy we're all committed to carry on.
Detail. Hold. Left. Face. Present. Arms. 2. Flag detail. Advance.
We've just witnessed the flag retirement ceremony for Mark, so I just wanted to say a few words about him. Everyone in this room owes Mark a huge debt of gratitude. Some of you probably have never met him. Most of you probably have never met him. Some of you, yes.
Are you Spanish?
Of course. How did you guess? Most of you haven't even met him, and some of you probably don't even know his name. But he was the founder of Honor Flight. We started flying, our first flight was in 2012, May the 26th. And he started this, and one of the things that we always hear, we're just about approaching mission 38, which is going to take off in April. And when the vets come back, the one thing we always hear, apart from the fact, oh my goodness, what an incredible flight, what a wonderful day, etc., is like, what incredible organization, what attention to detail. And this is all Mark. The way he set this up, he was a meticulous planner. Every single little detail was down to the last minute, sometimes the last seconds. He left nothing to chance. He foresaw every single eventuality. And even though we're now 38 missions on, we still continue the same attention to detail and planning that he instilled into us. So, you know, it all stems from him. One of Mark's favorite sayings was, "It's all about the vets." And it was always all about you. It was never about us. It was certainly never about him. It was all about you. Mark shunned the spotlight. He always used to keep in the background because he wanted the spotlight to be where it should be, on you. He told me once that he hated publicity, although he understood the need for it. And to this day, whenever we make any kind of decision, it always comes back to, is it good for the vets? Is this the best thing we can do for the vets? And this is still something we talk about. Mark never let us get comfortable. He was always pushing us to do more things, to create, to think outside the box, to come up with new things. We couldn't just sort of sit back and say, oh, we've done a flight, it was pretty good, and that was it. No, we had to do extra things. And so we did with his pushing. One of the things that he came up with was the flightless honor flight. It always troubled him that there were so many vets who, for one reason or another, could not make the very long and tiring trip to Washington. And so he came up with this concept of the flightless honor flight. So he did it, as I said, with the same attention to detail that he did all the flights. He would even space out the chairs, the space between the chairs at the recreation centres. If Mark had his way, he would have built a plane and put it in the rec centres to simulate the flight experience. He persuaded the TSA from Orlando to come down for the flightless flights. He got a real live Southwest agent to come down and preside over it. He was always about detail. And to date, we've taken 112 vets on this mission. A long way. So we have 112 vets who, if it wasn't for Mark, would never have experienced, their special day. We have an annual summit every year in Washington for all the honor flight hubs. And we worked there one year. We presented this flightless program at the summit in Washington, and the result was absolutely incredible. People couldn't believe it. We had a standing ovation. People were coming up to us afterwards, oh, what an incredible idea. They had never heard anything like this. So now this has been copied by hubs all over the organization. And again, this all comes back to Mark. We got to be known as a hub that was cutting edge and forward-looking, and the consensus up there in the summit was, we can't wait to see what you guys are going to do next. We were really on the map again, thanks to Mark. We did flightless flights in assisted living facilities and also in a prison, which, to my knowledge today, is the only time that this has ever been attempted. Again, it was all, Mark pushing us, be creative, do more things. And another thing he came up with, he was always worried, again, that after you'd had the flight and the reunion, that there was nothing. So he came up, this was not a new idea, but he encouraged us to start these vet luncheons, which thanks to Jeff DeFury and Joe Devote had taken off, and you can see how many people are here, absolutely wonderful. We've had over 100 people sometimes. Again, some place that you can, that you can come and socialize. And again, as I said, this is back to Mark and pushing us. Mark was an incredible leader. When we were in a room with meetings, there would be diverse opinions and people would be arguing and someone is saying, I think this and that, etc. He would sit quietly there, listen to everyone. And then at the end, he would manage to come up with a solution that drew everybody together. And once he made his decision, there was no more arguments and everybody was fine with it and everybody agreed. And that is the mark of a true leader. Most incredibly, he could do that when he wasn't even in the room. We were on conference calls with him. He wasn't in the room, he couldn't see our faces, and he managed to have the same effect, to draw everybody together. And there was never any argument. This was the way it was going to be done, and that was it. Mark, for those of you who knew him, he was a very difficult person to get to know. I think basically he was very shy, and he didn't really believe in small talk. But once you got to know him, you found someone who was incredibly patient, who would spend hours with you going over things that you didn't understand because not everybody was as brilliant as he was. And so, he would spend the time. He would never blame anybody for a mistake. He just made sure that you would know enough so you wouldn't make the same mistake again. He was a very kind man, underneath this facade. He loved animals. He was devastated when his dog of 17 years old, Pepper, died. very, very fond of animals. He was also the founder of the World War II History Club, along with Professor Don Goldstein, who unfortunately also has just passed away. His knowledge of World War II history was just incredible. He gave presentations sometimes at the meetings, and listening to him was extraordinary. I could have listened to him for hours. The depth of his knowledge was just outstanding. As I said, Mark was very private and withdrawn, but if you started asking him about one of these topics that was near and dear to his heart, he would start talking to you and he wouldn't stop, as long as it was on one of these subjects. So, everybody in this room owes Mark a huge thank you. And on behalf of all of us, I would just like to say to Mark, Mark, we will never forget you. Thank you.